Okay, so welcome everybody to the Good to Grow workshop presented by Nevada County CDA. So the purpose of this workshop precisely is to talk about the various license types, and Craig and Tom and Jeff will talk about county, what Nevada County, the unincorporated areas, and we have Tom Last from Grass Valley and Amy Wolfson from Nevada City that will talk about their specific license types. We have a number of questions that we got ahead of time to the email, and if you have a question and if you want to talk on video, just raise your hand after the short presentations and we'll pull your video up, and if not, you're welcome to post your questions, ideally in the chat window or the Q&A window. It doesn't really matter. All the questions will be captured, and if we don't get to them all, we will answer them later. At least that's what I heard from our friends here at the county. So there we go. Craig, would you like to kick it off?
I'm going to have Thomas kick it off kind of for Nevada County. I just want to thank everybody for being here. We really want to hear more from the community about what the needs are specific to license types and really everything cannabis. So Thomas is going to do a quick overview for us here at the county.
Thank you. So taking from Craig's interest, my name's Thomas Maioli. I'm with Nevada County Cannabis Compliance. As stated earlier, our goal is to get your voice out, listen to hear what you would like to see of our programs. All your questions will be documented. If you submit a question, you can submit that to us directly, or those we may not be able to answer during the session, we will answer your emails, we'll reply to you, or you can feel free to call us. The questions that we can't answer or get you an email, we will also be holding a workshop, our Good to Grow workshop. It's our series on the 29th. I believe that's next Wednesday. So any questions that may be general, that may apply to many people, we will double back on those and get those answered in the workshop on the 29th. And then if we move on to the next panelist and you come up with a question for Nevada City or Grass Valley, just ask it. It's not a bad time to ask. We'll circle back and get to it at the end if we have time. And the Nevada County questions, again, will be answered on the 29th. But thank you, Pascale, for hosting us tonight. Amy with Nevada City, Tom Last of Grass Valley being with us. We also have listening in the Water Board, Fish and Wildlife. I'd like to thank the Cannabis Alliance Circle and our applicants, and especially our first applicants. We have a lot of applicants who have made a successful first season and are going into their successful second. And with their comments today and their input, that's how we craft our program and improve. And just also, this is the first time that I'm aware of that we've had, Nevada City, Grass Valley, the county, and state agencies all in one call. So definitely forward movement for cannabis in Nevada County. Just a little brief history. Nevada County's been working on cannabis ever since Prop 64, and then we're moving into our ordinance currently. Our current process started back with our community advisory group in May of 2007, multiple public meetings. With that, we started opening pre-application processes in March of 2019, and then the board took all those considerations and adopted the EIR and our ordinance on May 14th of 2019. After that May 14th, we got our first applicant approved on June 14th, so right after that. We have multiple license permit types in Nevada County. We have the CCP, that's a commercial cannabis permit that allows you to cultivate up to 2,500 square feet. And then we have the larger administrative development permit, that's our ADP. And that's 2,500 square feet to 10,000 square feet. Currently in Nevada County, we have the permits are medicinal outdoor, medicinal mixed light, medicinal indoor nursery and self-distribution. The self-distribution goes along with a medicinal outdoor or another type of cultivation. So we want to hear what you would like to see of our program, which way that you'd like to see us going, entertaining different license types, what would be beneficial for our program, for our cultivators, for business in Nevada County. Any of those ideas you have, please submit them. It's never too late. If we move on to Nevada City or Grass Valley, still get those questions in and we will get them addressed. So again, just reach out to us, ask those questions, get those questions in, and we could move forward. And I'm going to hand this off to, well, let me just cover one more thing. So again, my name's Thomas Maioli. I'm with the Cannabis division. We also have Jason Besaw, who's a coworker of mine, and Jessica Rist, and our program manager who's present, Jeff Merriman. If you use our cannabis compliance email, our general cannabis compliance phone number, one of us will answer and return your calls or emails. So please feel free to reach out. And with that, I'd like to introduce Amy Wolfson with Nevada City.
Thank you, Thomas. Yeah, so if you're looking to do a cannabis business in Nevada City, I'd be your first point of contact. Nevada City established a cannabis business application process in 2017. We started with a dispensary business process and then moved fairly quickly on to a process that allows indoor nursery cultivation, distribution, manufacturing, and testing laboratories. Essentially, all those are allowed in the light industrial designation only. To date, the city has processed and authorized about 30 business applications. The planning department website includes a page that has links to the application information, fees, and supplemental requirements. And then the process from the application submittal to the review before the planning commission is typically about 3 months, and that all kind of depends on how complete the application is. So when I process an application, I take it in and I distribute it to several reviewing agencies, including a consultant we've hired, SCI, and they basically review it. We review it for completeness, and if there's things that are incomplete or not thoroughly discussed, then we do send it back. So it can be a give and take, but for the most part, it takes about 3 months to get it before the planning commission. And the last thing I just want to say is that we accept applications on a quarterly basis, so 4 times a year, and that's just to help me consolidate and kind of get them through. I'm the only planner here, so it just helps me to keep things from bogging me down for my other responsibilities here. So other than that, I don't know who you want to go to next. I guess it would be Tom last from the city of Grass Valley, and I'm happy to answer any questions if anyone has them.
All right, you guys ready for me? I guess. So currently, so I'm Tom Last, the Community Development Director for the city of Grass Valley. So currently, the city of Grass Valley does not allow any cannabis businesses at all. So just about 2 months ago, we did take an item to the city council to obtain some direction in terms of whether or not we wanted to entertain different uses and potentially consider issuing licenses for certain types of cannabis businesses. So the council did give us direction. And so next month, October, we will be going before the planning commission, and that will eventually go to city council for the consideration of an ordinance, which would allow some businesses, and I can walk through those real briefly, just to let you know what the city is considering. And so that'll be a public process where we will get input from the public, and the council will ultimately make a determination whether or not they want to adopt this ordinance as drafted or make changes to it as we go through this public hearing process. So again, so what we're looking at in a draft ordinance is that these cannabis businesses would be allowed in the C3 and M1 zones, which is our heaviest commercial zone and a light industrial zone. The types of businesses we're looking at for deliveries and dispensaries, at this point, the city is creating a standard that would allow one cannabis dispensary per 7,500 residents. and no more than 2 in the city altogether. So right now, based on our population, if this were to move forward, we would allow 1 dispensary, retail dispensary. We also would allow potentially 2 delivery-only service dispensaries, so people could deliver but not have a commercial storefront. We're also considering allowing cannabis testing laboratories. Those would be limited to no more than 2 in the city at one time. For cannabis manufacturing, the city's looking at allowing up to 10 of those, up to 10 of those. And then cannabis nurseries, we are looking at allowing that with primarily indoor, but with potentially, there would be potential for some outdoor growth, but there's some pretty strict standards for that. And based on, that may be harder to achieve, but we would still allow potentially 2 of those types of businesses. And then finally, cannabis distribution, we would allow that potentially up to 5 of those types of licenses. And that's a type 11 license based on the state requirements. So again, right now we have nothing in place, but we are going to be starting the process next month to consider those types of uses. So with that, that really lets you know what's happening in Grass Valley. And I'm happy to answer any questions as we move forward.
All right, thank you, Tom. Thanks, everybody. So we have a question here from Diana Gamzon. And Diana, people on the phone are still unclear how to make a comment. Well, if people on the phone want to make a comment, the easiest would be to actually let us know who it is, because all we can see are the numbers, and there's an option for me to pull these people and basically open their microphones. That is the easiest way.
So, Pascale, I wanted to clarify something real quick too, just to sort of provide a summation of the cities in the county right now is, as Thomas mentioned, for the most part in the county, it is a cultivation license types that we allow, and it's a certain size depending on zoning and things like that. So what we're really looking for is, I see a lot of questions in the chat about, are we interested in allowing any recreational type use and things like that. This is the time where we want to hear from you. We want to hear what you want, what you need, what you think best fits the community. It's not necessarily a question. We honestly want to hear from you. And there really is no bad suggestion at this point. We have the cities in the county here to kind of come up with a very holistic approach moving forward. And we have some opportunities. So please raise your hand if you're on a computer, or speak up so we can hear what you need or what you think we should have in our community related to cannabis license types and just cannabis in general.
Right, let's get right in it here. Basil, there you are. If you could turn on your video and unmute yourself and ask your question. Hello, there you go. Hi.
There. Sorry about the delay. First of all, I just wanted to say thank you for making time to hold this event and solicit input from those of us in the community. It's really much appreciated, and in light of COVID, it's requires us to do this virtually. But thank you to Pascale for facilitating, and for all of you taking time out of your work schedules to hear from us. My name is Basil, and I'm a license holder, a permit holder in Nevada City. Our business is called Rough and Ready Goods. We do manufacturing and distribution here in about 5,000 square feet in a building on New Mohawk Road. I guess if I could say anything, I guess I would just encourage those of you working with the county to consider I feel like this has been a great start to a sustainable program, and the community has come together with county policymakers, county staff, and applicants, business owners in the community to make this work. There's a lot of room for improvement, but it's been a great start, and I applaud you for your efforts. What you might not be so privy to is the business side of this experience. And that's where I hope maybe hearing from myself and from other folks who will be looking to speak up here, it could be valuable. Just to get to the point, there's not enough farmers in the county yet. I know that this process could take a couple years to develop, and there might be people in the community who would beg to differ, who may not be as supportive of the cannabis industry in this county, but we're very grateful now to be able to work with some of the local permit holders that you've brought through the process. There are some fantastic farmers in the area. There's a lot of farmers too who aspire to get permitted and to partake in the legal market, who are out there, who are not yet licensed and not yet paying taxes and complying with state regulatory programs and all the good things that come with enrolling in this process. They may even want to, but they face a number of barriers. And I don't think that those barriers are things that you set up intentionally to prevent folks from partaking, but they're obstacles nonetheless. You know,
Basil, hey, I'm sorry, my fault. I should have said, we're trying to keep everyone's comments to like 2 minutes so that we can get the maximum comments. So can you wrap up?
Sure. Let me just make one quick point before I wrap, so I don't, take too much time. These barriers that I'm speaking about include some of the requirements pertaining to facilities, restroom requirements for seasonal staff or companies with under 6 full-time employees, the requirement to have ADA accessible parking when a property is not associated with permitted commercial structures. I understand that there's a reason why these things exist, but they're very expensive to implement. And for a small business with limited resources, they could prevent people from participating in the system. So I just encourage you to consider ways to reduce barriers to allow more people to participate in the market. Thanks.
You. Patricia, you're up next.
Yes. Hello. Hi, everybody. It's good to see some of your faces. I haven't seen them for a while. My name is Patricia Rockwell, and I, along with my family, own Green Gift Gardens. And as one of the early recipients of a Nevada County cultivation license, we are in our 2nd year. And we have learned a lot and spent a lot of money to create this family business, and we have some feedback on that experience. First off, I just want to say how supported I feel from the CDA. I get quick replies on questions and have had some really good interactions with you guys. So thank you for that. It's going to be probably another year, at least another year before we break even, given the initial investment to start a commercial business. We hold a 10,000 square foot outdoor license. And in order to be financially sustainable, we've realized that this type of license is not going to generate the kind of income that we'll need in the years to come. To support the farm, we're going to be applying for a mixed light license and downgrading our outdoor cultivation space. The additional facilities that we're going to need for the next harvest season is not this one, but next year, is going to add another layer of financial investment. And to help mitigate these costs, I'm hoping that the county will look closely at some of the following issues or items. So allowing the use of power in all ag exempt structures for supplemental lighting and fans. So that would be hoop houses for us as we go forward. And to simplify the process for making amendments to our ADP. I'm in conversation with Thomas about that right now, but I'm still not clear exactly what we need to do. And then we have the state to deal with too. And then to simplify the process, for like not to allow redlining on site plans and things like that we submit, so we don't have to go out and get another whole set of 8 plans printed out for each iteration of edits that we have to do.
Hey, Patricia,
Looking to the
Patricia, can I ask you to please wrap it up?
Yes, I am. Yeah,
Thank
thank
you.
you. Looking to the future and understanding that the cannabis landscape will change, I'm hoping that the county will also look to the future and add additional license types, especially distribution and events for ag parcels, as well as allow larger square footage as part of a long-term plan. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And Jon Oleson, you are next.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Thank you for taking the time to meet with us. My name is Jon Oleson. I'm with Sierra Soul Farms and Grass Valley Growers Co-op. We're a 10,000 square foot farm in our second harvest season. And I just want to, again, echo what Pat and what Basil were saying about how cooperative the county has been. You've been very responsive and helpful throughout the process. I just want to thank you all for continuing to work with us. I just want to speak briefly about the need to extend the transition period. You know, as Pat said, it's going to take some years for us to break even. This is an expensive process setting up these farms, especially when we have to upgrade our dry facilities, build new commercial structures. This stuff all takes a lot of time and is a lot of investment. And us personally, we've been held up in the design process due to the lack of availability of professionals, due to the economic uncertainty of the times we're in. And so I would just encourage you not only to extend the transition period for the farmers who are in the system. I think if you did that, it would go a long way to show good faith to those who have yet to decide whether or not they want to enter the licensing process, to show them that the county is invested in its farmers, that the county is invested in its businesses, that you're on our side and you're trying to help us out through this process and these challenging times. That's all I have to say today. Thank you.
Thank you. John Foley, you are next.
Can you guys hear me?
We can.
All right. Good evening. My name is John Foley, owner of Yellow Dog Family Farms, a licensed local farm here. I'm also an advocate who's worked closely with both the Cannabis Alliance and the policymakers to help shape the local cannabis industry. As a lifetime Nevada County resident, the future and well-being of our community is of the utmost importance to me. As a cannabis business owner and representative of the cannabis community, the long-term sustainability of this industry is not only crucial to myself and fellow business owners, but it also affects the lifeblood of Nevada County itself, a region that has been propped up by cannabis for decades. After reflecting on the foreign policy here and observing the California marketplace as a whole, I've come to one conclusion. The cost of doing business in Nevada County is too high for short and long-term viability. The startup costs are not justified by our current limited growth potential. The hybridized model of residential, commercial, and ag has convoluted the permit process and driven costs beyond what makes financial sense for most small farms. Large ag zone parcels, permanent residences, commercial buildings, grading and access, and multiple septic systems can push the startup costs into the millions in order to cultivate the 3 smallest license types in the state. As we begin to shape future policy, we must be cognizant of the cannabis policies in neighboring counties and be adaptive to ensure our local industry can stay competitive within the California marketplace. A choice must be made. Are we going to create policy that ensures the success and growth of the cannabis industry and our community, or are we going to kill a potentially great economic driver for generations to come? If we choose success and growth, 2 things must be done moving forward. First, drastically reduce the barriers to entry and startup costs for our small farmers to be reflective of the potential income they can generate from their farm. And second, for the success of farms who've entered the system, allow them the flexibility to responsibly and respectfully grow their businesses as needed. It is only right and fair that an effective business be allowed to expand as their business model dictates. Increasing the allotted square footage of cultivation allowed can help ensure startup costs be recuperated, jobs created, and sustainability achieved. I'm not suggesting that this happened overnight, but I do suggest the conversation of reasonable expansion of square footage needs to begin now as future policy is being crafted. Thanks, guys.
Perfect timing, John. So Mike Ingram on the phone, please, you're up. Mike? Hello, Mike?
Hello?
There you go.
All right.
All right.
All right. Hi, my name is Mike Ingram, and I'm the owner and operator of Yuba River Organics. We're a small-scale family farm that got in the process last year. And, you know, other than I think we're all aware of hoops we jumped through, we've been very pleased and happy with this program and have met a lot of great people in the cannabis community and also have some nice relationships with people in the county that we've really enjoyed working with. I wanted to mention a couple of things that I personally experienced on my farm and would like to see the county program improve. The first one would be the ADP amendment process. I've gone through and I'm working on the ADP amendment with the county and have done it with the state. The state has a very easy, streamlined process that's free. The county ADP amendment process is pretty much the same as getting your ADP from the beginning, and has become quite costly, which is a fear for being a farmer and changing things up on the farm, you know, that are very simple changes from year to year, mainly dealing with canopy and not dealing with anything else. I'd like to see that have a process that would just be a cheaper option to make changes on the farm. The next thing would be something we're looking at the coming year would be building out a commercial building to vertically integrate on the farm. And it'd be really nice to allow us to have more license types on the farm, such as distribution or even non-volatile manufacturing, so we can distribute our product, mainly being able to drive it off the farm ourselves, and or create, such as our farm, we make muscle rubs, so we're interested in that. And then lastly would be the ag exempt storage containers. I find it is a very cost-effective model to allow a farm to have a compliant area to store their cannabis in a locked area without power and utilities.
Mike, can you wrap up, please?
Yeah, so I'd just like to see another option for farms to have while they're transitioning into building their commercial structures. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike. Lorne, you're up.
Thank you, I appreciate it, and your moderating. I'm going to be pretty quick. I've been working as a consultant in the industry for the last 12 years in about 9 states. I've seen a lot of the issues that a lot of the small farmers are bringing up right now, and I've seen them change the landscape pretty dramatically. I actually own property out Snow Tent Road and actually consult for another farm as well that's looking to get up and running. I apologize, I missed the beginning of this meeting because I was picking up my daughter at her wonderful job at McDonald's, which is crazy to me. But that being said, I did not hear whether we are talking about more farms coming on, if there are more cultivation licenses. So I'd like to, at some point here, if somebody can address that, that would be wonderful for me. In addition, any discussion that could be around, I understand that there is a new fire chief or that's looking at land right now that is going beyond the 12-foot wide roads that came in before, and that now we're looking at 20. So I wanted to hear a little bit about that, and I very much appreciate a lot of the people that have been on already to talk about the barriers of entry and the costs involved. And I just urge the county, the city, really work hand in hand. What I see a lot of times in different counties and with the BCC, it's almost an adversarial position with the growers and other license holders. And I don't think it behooves the government, and I don't think it behooves business. And it's tough, but I know we're trying to iron it all out. And that's what I got. Just so you know, I'm Lorne Siverstein. Just a quick introduction. I'm glad I saw somebody with as big a beard as me on this call, so that's excellent too. Thank you, folks. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Lorne. And Daniel, you're up next.
Hello, good afternoon. Thank you, Pascale, for facilitating this, and thank you, the county, for sitting through another one of these meetings. I know that we've had a lot of them. My biggest thing is we have a distribution facility and a dispensary in Nevada City, And the hardest thing for us is to access the product. We need more farmers to get online. We need larger cultivation sizes for these farmers because, quite frankly, we're having to source from out of the county. And as a dispensary here, we're trying to source in county as much as possible. So I really feel like we need larger cultivation sizes. Also, I want to echo what Mike said about the ADP process of going through the application pretty much completely again. If there's any way that could get streamlined, that would be great. But I really want to thank the county for everything they've done. And my biggest thing is larger cultivation sizes.
That was fast.
Try to give more people time to talk.
Absolutely. Perfect. Thank you. Abraham, you're next. Abraham, can you hear us? You're up.
Okay. Hey, how you doing? I have my hat on. Thank you. Appreciate it. Great hat. I had a feeling you had a touch here, Craig, the design. I'll make it quick just because I know there's probably more people talking. I would want to see the county a little bit more involved on the security side of things. We had a pretty crazy season in South County, and I feel that it can trickle to other places, and I would like somehow, I don't know how, but to see the county involved in that. We need electricity and ag exempt greenhouses, hoop houses, including the containers. I'm asking to remove the permanent restroom requirement for seasonal workers and workers in general, but I think 6 will do. Some people here mentioned expansions, and I would like to see expansions through adjacent properties and allowing people to use properties that they have next to them that are under the same ownership. Also extend the transition period. We invested a lot of time and money, and I would like to have more time to see if I should do the extra grading or wait a little bit, and I'm feeling that the time is not enough. And again, it's just because all the effort that was put into it. The amending process, if it's possible to make it more easier. I mean, I really have to think really hard if I want to come in and do amending. I'm a little bit scared of it too. It doesn't, a little bit scared. So, and the last thing, distro. We definitely need that too. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Evan. Jared, you're up next.
Hello, can you hear me?
Absolutely.
Hi, I would like to thank the council members and county staff for holding this and taking the time to hear us out. As a small operator and legacy operator that transitioned into the legal market, I've been having a tough time with getting through. One of the biggest issues was ADA for being a small business dealing with a larger multi-tenant building. That was a huge burden for my business, kind of offset for at least 18 months because of that. And having lack of access to retail in the county for being able to sell directly to consumers as a medical collective, that was very much doable with retail storefronts to also provide delivery, and for other businesses to be able to have that access as well would be a game changer for small time operators to survive these unknowns. I mean, COVID-19 has thrown a whirlwind. We are essential, but it does disrupt a lot of the supply chain, and there is a lack of access to retail in the entire state is an issue. So making that more readily available and streamlining the process with existing farms and small operators to be able to apply for these licenses. The state allows it. It's a simple other license, just we're already regulated exactly the same. So that's just all I have to say. I think that would help out for small time people and really keep a close knit community, to have farm stands and be able to do events on ag property, to keep it the culture that we've come to know and what we've come from. So thank you very much for your time, and have a good evening.
Can I go, Pascale?
My bad, I was muted. Yes, please, Wade.
Thank you, Pascale. And thank you, all of you from the staff and Amy, for having this event this afternoon. My name is Wade Laughter. I am maybe the first person on this call who's called in who doesn't have a permit. I have been cultivating cannabis for my personal use. I have glaucoma, and it has kept me being able to see for 24 years now. And I'm zoned out of the cultivation thing, but I would like to point out that the farmers who have spoken on this call are asking for help, not just for themselves, but for the hundreds, if not thousands, of farmers in this county who have made some portion of their living from working with this plant. And the legalization effort that's undergoing in California right now, the hope and intention is to bring many of those people into the system so that they obey the rules, so that they pay their taxes. The idea is great, but the execution, particularly across the state, is problematic to say the least. And here in Nevada County, it feels like county staff and the supervisors, our elected officials, have really gotten behind the idea of we want to see this program work. I'm telling you that the folks who are who have made these comments so far in the call really understand what the problems are. I beg you to listen to them, because what's true is hundreds of farmers in our county are watching and listening how it's going for those farmers that are trying to make this work. And the last thing that Nevada County can afford or needs is a continuation of the drug war and the cultural divide that this plant and prohibition has created in our culture. And I thank you for your time and the opportunity to share my thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you, Wade. Joe. Joe, can you unmute yourself? There you are. Hey.
Guys, thanks for fielding questions from us. I know a lot of people have been eager to speak their minds on some of these issues, and I have just a couple of items that I want to go over. I've gone through this process for my clients probably 30 times at this point, and a couple of things that have come up is one of them is the requirement of an ADA parking stall when there's no on-site processing. So you're literally asking people to put an island of concrete or asphalt on their property where somebody can come, get out of their car, and get back in their car. They can't go anywhere. And it seems like a really impractical application of the code. And I don't think it is consistent with the intention of ADA requirements. So I'd really encourage sort of a more rational application of the code to some of these applications. Also, I'd like to echo a lot of folks' comments about extending the transition period. As an architect and somebody who appreciates good design, I worry about people throwing up cheap mobile homes in the interest of getting something on their properties, ultimately reducing the value of their property over time and increasing fire risk to those structures. So I think that would help bring more people into the process moving forward. And it's hard to advise my clients who are wanting to come online when we don't know exactly what's happening with that transition period. And then also, one of the things I've been hearing people talk about is streamlining the amendment process. which is super interesting to me because I went through a couple of amendments last year that were super easy. We just resubmitted minor changes on site plans, and they were approved within the 30 to 45 day review period. Other people have then had to go through and basically resubmit their entire package. And so I just would love to see more consistency in the application of the process.
Thanks, Joe. Can you?
Yep, that's it.
Okay, thank you. Gabriel. Hey, unmute yourself.
There we go.
There you go.
Video might not be working, but I just want to take the time to thank you guys for all fielding these questions. I think it's great that the community is having some discussions going on. I, along with Wade, I'm actually not a holder of a permit. I'm just a passionate home grower in the county who really wants to see it grow and succeed. So I just kind of want to voice my support as just a citizen here for all the growers that are working. I think that as well, we need to focus. There's a huge opportunity, both economic and to increase just the well-being of the town with in helping these growers reach their full potential. And I think I also want to agree that the barriers of entry across the board should be reduced, especially in the initial beginning, because I think giving time to growers and farms to ramp up their process and then possibly enacting fees at a later time could help in that transition period. And I also want to voice my support for farm stands and events. I think there's a big opportunity to have events on these properties. There's a lot of space there. And when post-COVID restrictions happen, that would be great to see, because I think that's a great opportunity for the county in a non-growing way. So just want to thank you guys again, and love hearing all the discussion.
All right, thank you, Gabriel. And next up we have Jonathan.
Sorry, just taking a moment to unmute. Yeah, I think that this is a really good forum. It's been a while since we've had one of these, so it's great to hear all the feedback. It's great to see all the people that have stepped up. I think that they have extremely valid points. One of the things, though, that I think would be really important for the county to do is a lot of the people that are speaking up in this particular forum are very experienced and have relationships with the county, and their experiences have been really solid. However, I do know further deeper into community, there's a lot of folk that have been having different experiences. And I think that if there was an anonymous comment that could just be any day, any night, where people could leave their comments about concerns, about questions, about these type of things, where a lot of these folk are a little bit worried about future relationship with the county if they speak plainly. So I think that, again, most of the people here have had really exceptional experiences, but there are people that are in the community that haven't had them, and they don't know how to speak up because they feel like they're going to be isolated. As far as everything else goes, I think one of the things is when we set up this program, we do have the smaller license types in regards to the state. And one of the things that was important and seemed really positively accepted by the community as a whole, including those in the greater, broader community, was the idea of craft farms. And with that, I think what we were looking at was a model similar to Napa and Sonoma. So I think one of the things that becomes really important for these operators is to be able to give them the license types that they need to operate on the farm, but also to look at the event license. The event license is going to go a long ways in creating some of the agritourism, the branding, the marketing, the promotion that will actually be really important for these brands as they move forward. It doesn't have to be right away, but beginning to see how that would play in, how we build the infrastructure for that type of Napa, Sonoma-esque type of situation. I guess that's all the time I have.
Please, we have more people. We have Elizabeth, who's up next. Elizabeth?
Okay.
Hello?
Hi, can you hear me?
Now we can.
Okay, hi, sorry about that, I was unmuting myself. Yeah, I just had a couple of questions. The first was a status update regarding adult use. And the other item that I just wanted to mention for discussion was echoing what Daniel spoke about, was to increase the canopy size for scalability, which would ultimately provide sustainability, not only for the farms ourselves, but also for the local economy. The current regulation right now, we are a licensed 10,000 square foot canopy farm, but we're finding that we don't feel that this current size is enough to compete within the California marketplace. So I wanted to request that. And then also there are other localities that have the 10,000 square foot CEQA requirements, and what they allow is multiple 10,000 square foot licenses can be held on one property, but they're separated by fencing. So I just wanted to submit that, and those are my questions.
Thank you. That's very succinct, and you posted also in the chat, and all that will be all that is being captured. And
Perfect.
next up,
Thank you very much. Thank you for your time.
And next up is Douglas. Douglas, can you unmute yourself?
Hello, can everyone hear me?
There you go. Please
All
go
right.
ahead.
This is Douglas Potter with Potter's Organics. We are a small farm. It's my brother and I, and just want to echo a few things that everyone said here. I'll keep it short and sweet with some bullet points. Reduce the barriers. A lot of these costs are pretty astronomical, and to think about a lot of the true activity that's going to happen on these sites and the requirements that we're held to are pretty wild. So reduce the barriers, ADP amendment, the timeline, like Pat mentioned, the redlining of things, you know, in the office with you guys going over it would be very time saving. And I think something that might be, you know, hard to see on the inside is that the professionals in town are pretty rough. I mean, there are a few good ones, but it's not great going to work with them. Power and ag exempt structures, containers. We need containers for dry space. Permanent restroom requirement. Porta potties when it's, you know, during seasonals or during harvest, I think is definitely sufficient. Larger grows, we're kind of stuck at this weird income level where it's really hard to hire people, especially with the requirements, you know, for the restrooms, and we've started planning for some of that stuff, but you know, you immediately max out septic usage and then you have no potential to build. So yeah, larger grows. Ag tourism's huge. We need it. I'll kind of just leave on the note of, like, let's create this industry. We know it's here. We know it's here to stay. And let's follow the path of least resistance. So thank you all. And, you know, you guys have all been great. It's a joy to see your faces. And yeah, thank you much.
Maggie, can you hear it? Are you ready? Maggie, can you unmute yourself?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, perfectly.
Okay, hi. My name is Maggie Phillipsborn. I'm speaking just as a citizen of Nevada County. I'd like the county to understand that there are a wonderful number of people who want to get a county cultivation permit and enter the state regulated market. In Nevada County, the costs that cannabis cultivators are incurring in hopes of finally getting an annual cannabis permit is tremendous and simply beyond what the majority of existing small farmers can afford. As just one example, I'd say like commercial road access to ag exempt structures. Tons of these quotes are upwards of $200,000, and just there are numerous consequences, I think, to having commercial designations for some of these projects that are truly small agricultural operations. Across the state, counties are regulating cannabis as an agricultural crop that it is, and we need to explore changing policies to remove the commercial burdens that traditional farmers don't face. I urge you to look at every option that would help to reduce the barriers to entry to make the transition into this new industry a viable business option. Thank you. I really appreciate you guys holding this session tonight and taking all of this into consideration.
Thank you, Maggie. And our next person should be coming up here as panelist there. Michael, you're up. Michael?
Hi. Hi, everyone. My name is Michael Chestone. I live out in Penn Valley. I own a local cannabis cultivation company that's working our way through the final permitting process. In addition to that cultivation, I also own a distribution company in Oakland that currently services a little over 75 retail clients around the state with over 10 employees. I'd like to thank the board, county staff for all the hard work in developing and implementing our existing program. We've known that this is a program that is very much a work in progress, and thank you very much for all the continued efforts. The distribution company has been operating for a little over 2 years in the Bay, and I established it with the sole purpose of acting as a conduit to bring product from the farm up here to the statewide market. For those less familiar, the distribution license provides a farm with a great deal of flexibility in how it can handle, test, store, transport, and distribute its products. And I would propose that in the event that a cultivation here is required to build out a commercial building for any of its supporting activities, that it also be allowed to fully utilize that space by allowing for the other license types with distribution and non-volatile manufacturing. So if Nevada County allowed for these license types, I would jump at the opportunity to move my existing operation and its tax base from Oakland up here to the local community. I'd also like to thank my friends and colleagues in the community, echo a lot of their comments as it relates to canopy size expansion, streamlining the existing ADP amendment process, the ADA bathroom requirements, and ag exempt structures. Again, thank you very much.
Thank you, Michael. And we have Scott, who is next. Scott, you're up.
Hi, guys. This is Scott from Bud Farm on the North San Juan Ridge. Want to just kind of reiterate some things that I've heard some other people say. One is that experience so far working with you guys has been great. And I would like to promote the idea of two things to really help keep our county competitive as this market matures. And other counties, they have different regulations that are going to allow a lot of the business to get drawn towards other counties, and we want to keep our county as a viable option. So things like tourism, very important, being able to bring people to our farms. We put a lot of work and love into these farms, and we want people to get to see that, as well as increasing canopy size. In the long run, a 10,000 square foot grow is not going to be enough to be sustainable. So just wanted to highlight those two things that other people have said.
Thank you. Thanks much, Scott. And we have three more people that raised their hands, Sunshine being the next one. Once Diana is done speaking, I believe we will be a little past 6 o'clock, and then Craig, I think you have resources that you can then provide. But for now, let's hear what Sunshine has to say. Sunshine, could you unmute yourself, please? We can't hear you. Sunshine? We may have lost Sunshine. So Julia, how about you come up as a panelist here, and if you could unmute yourself and start whenever you're ready.
Hi, can you hear me?
Absolutely.
I'd like to Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you guys listening to all of us. One thing I'd like to echo that a lot of other people have said is that it would be awesome if you guys could allow farms on adjacent parcels under common ownership to be able to cluster the cultivation on either parcel while growing to the maximum allowed for each parcel. That would reduce the cost of infrastructure and disturbance. And it would just be really great if that could be allowed. The other thing I'd like to echo is streamlining the ADP amendment process. It's pretty lengthy and is basically like submitting an entire ADP all over again. So that would be nice too. And pretty much everything that all the other farmers have said and requested on this call. I'd like to echo everything they say, especially about commercial versus agricultural crop. Cannabis is definitely just like growing tomatoes or any other vegetable. And it has a commercial stamp on it, and it just doesn't suit our resources or finances to be categorized into this department. Thank you all for being here. That's all I really have to say.
Thank you, Julia. Diana.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'll be very brief. My name is Diana Gamzon, Executive Director of the Nevada County Cannabis Alliance. We are a member-based trade association representing over 200 members. Our values are steeped in environmental stewardship, community building, producing high-quality craft products. Our members are recognized throughout the state as award-winning producers of the finest cannabis flowers and products. And I'm going to make two comments. The first one is that we must recognize the need for affordable drying options for our farmers. Neighboring communities have approved low-cost drying options within ag-exempt structures with limited electrical. This is a really big deal, especially for farmers that are transitioning and in their first or second year of operation. We really need to find affordable options for them. And then the second thing that I want to mention is that events permits, they would allow our farmers to have direct access to consumers, which would help promote tourism in the area. And the other thing is that, well, exploring the use of commercial F1 structures on ag zone land for uses beyond just processing and distribution, or processing and drying, so for manufacturing and distribution. But if we are to add additional license types in the county, processing or manufacturing and distribution, and this goes for Nevada City, this goes for Grass Valley, we must have more cultivators. We do not have enough cultivators to currently support our local cannabis ecosystem. We have run out of, last year we ran out of legal products. So we really need to have a system that allows a way for our farmers to transition into the legal program so that cultivation is the bedrock of our cannabis programs throughout the entire county. Thanks so much and appreciate you all, and thanks for hosting this tonight.
Thank you, Diana. And gonna toss this back to Craig.
So, you know, it's a little bit like speed dating, trying to do all this in an hour, but we got a lot of good feedback. But just because it's, 6 o'clock on September 23rd, 2020, doesn't mean we're gonna stop listening to you at 6 o'clock. So, moving forward, I put some contact information at the very beginning of this chat, or you can just Google Nevada County Code Compliance, Nevada City Planning Department, Grass Valley Community Development. You can Google all that and get direct contact information for staff or general information. But a good place to start is just sending information to Cannabis Compliance, that email. Even if it's in the cities, we can help coordinate and connect you with staff and those entities as well. So it's really just, even if you're unsure on the process, or you're cultivating illegally and you want to figure out ways to get in or what the risks are, you can still email us and call us. We're not going to hunt you down, I swear. We'll answer those questions. we want to make this an inclusive process. Staff, the board, the city councils I know are committed to this. We know there are some barriers and there's some things we can work on internally, and we are committed to this. A lot of the stuff that was mentioned, especially the process stuff, we're aware of a lot of that, and we're working on that actively right now. There's more to come in the coming months. I know we didn't get to answer a lot of the questions, but like I said, there's some resources to reach out to us after this, as well as we have that Good to Go Grow workshop with the Alliance on the 29th. We're going to dedicate an hour of just Q&A for that with all the departments and fire agencies to talk about that, so you can tune in to that as well. And really just a thank you to everybody. You know, we want to be a partner. We don't want to be a roadblock. And like I said, we are committed to that. It is a young program. You know, we're about 1.5 years into the county ordinance being adopted. So we recognize there's a lot of work to do, and we're committed that it's needed. So again, I thank everybody for tuning in and look forward to working with you in the days to come.
All right. So thanks everybody for being here. Thanks to all the people, there was 73 of you in the audience. What I'm going to do is capture all the chat questions, and I will try and send them to the respective agencies for answers. And again, like Craig said, there is the next Good to Grow workshop with the Alliance, so don't forget to sign up for that. And please, everybody, be careful out there, and thank you and have a good evening.